James, welcome back. How things been?
Hi, Brandon. Yeah, really well, thank you. Very, very busy actually. Just shipping devices out, getting them connected, dealing with users, and making sure they're all connected and happy, and then delivering our big showcase event we had a couple of weeks ago, which went superbly. Really excited about what that has in store for us.
Well, let's get into that. It seems like your beta test is getting even more participation and having more success than even you and I expected. Can you give us an update on how things are going?
Yeah, exactly. So we shipped the first batch a few weeks ago. So we had about 25, 30 devices go out to people. Sort of a majority of those are now connected into the network. We shipped our batch two last week, and I think the first few people are now receiving those as well. So we've got about another 25-ish sensors being connected in, and then we've got probably another 20 to go after that as well. So we're probably going to end up with around about 70 as part of this beta program, and some of those have actually already been used on one of the beta program users was used in this Blueprint showcase event about 2 weeks ago. We had this huge event in front of like lots of directors, CEOs. We had the regulators there. We had the head of Detect and Avoid from the CAA there. We had people from the National Air Traffic Service, people from government, Department for Transport, Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy there. So we had a huge audience there, and we're already using some of these sensors from our beta program for live demonstrations. So that's been super cool.
That is exciting. So I heard that you're trying to get some business over there, and it actually stemmed from that demo that you gave. Can you give us some more information on that as well?
Exactly, yeah. So the National Air Traffic Service in the UK, they've actually got sort of a global spread. So they're in parts of Asia, parts of Europe, and other parts of the world as well. But they're basically got this program at the moment called Open Air, where they're looking at creating this sort of digital infrastructure for the UK market, to sort of upgrade it from this sort of old school aviation infrastructure we've had before to incorporate new forms of airspace users like drones, air taxis, and electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles. So they've got these tenders out at the moment. And they've asked us to bid for them, for the traffic information service. So this is a really exciting opportunity for us to really showcase the advantages that Neuron has. And I don't think there's any other traffic information service that can provide this kind of public infrastructure, which is what they're looking for. A lot of our competitors are private networks. And so it's very difficult to provide a public infrastructure using private networks. So we're in a really good position to make use of this tender, but we'll wait and see how we get on.
Well, I've seen some of the screenshots and all that from what we have on 4D Sky. So you're already tracking aircraft. You already have several dozen sensors out there. How many transactions is each one of those aircraft responsible for and sensors responsible for? How many transactions are we seeing actually hit the network at this point?
Sure, yeah. So each sensor is producing around about 10 data packets per second. Now, we're not actually pushing all of those through the network because it would become unmanageable. So we use Hedera as kind of like an orchestration network, basically. What it's doing is it's providing all of the facilities for discovering, connecting, paying and protecting those sort of transactions that go through the network. But we have this thing, which is kind of like an audit. At the moment, we've got it pumping through about once per second, which is like a heartbeat for every device that's pumping through the network. So obviously, with a small number of sensors, 50 or so sensors, that doesn't translate to a lot. But we're not, Neuron isn't about 50 sensors. It's about 50,000 sensors as just a single use case, probably more than that. And then when we get up to another use case and another use case, we start you can start multiplying them up quite quickly. So really, what we're doing now is scaling the aviation use case. But we're then moving on to use case two, use case three, which is probably going to be things like peer-to-peer video streaming, which I'm sure you can think of a number of very successful applications that use video streaming. We're probably on one now, but there's loads of peer-to-peer video streaming services that can be out there, ranging from influencers through to even content creation and even things like consulting. So if you say wants to provide professional services on a peer-to-peer manner. So say you're a consultant and you wanted to sell your services, you could sell them by the minute. So people can connect to you and buy your time and your expertise. So there's all sorts of really cool stuff we can do with peer-to-peer services. We won't get into the naughty ones, but yeah, there's plenty out there.
Well, the fact that, you're this early in your beta test, you have 50 odd sensors out there, and each one of them is producing 1 transaction per second. That's 50 transactions per second. That is nothing to sneeze at. So I'm pretty impressed already. So James, what are some of the next steps for Neuron?
So really what we're doing is finishing off this beta rollout. So we've got, as I say, about 70 sensors going to be going out. We're then going to start documenting and basically pushing out this via open source so that other people can start building in the ecosystem as well. What we're talking really here is an edge-based ecosystem. So that people can provide services peer-to-peer and remove the dependencies on a centralized server. Centralized servers are really, really problematic for a number of reasons, whether it's cost, performance, availability, and also the fact that you become dependent on them. Basically, they own your account. So what we want is people to own their own accounts. So we need to document this, and we need to document open source it under the Apache license, which means that anyone can now build a service on top of Neuron using the Neuron code base. And really where Neuron comes in is around the validator part. The validators are the things that validate that a service has actually been delivered properly. So if you have a dispute and you're not happy about that, so you can go and get your money back as a customer. So the validator is a big core piece. That's really our commercial model around the validator. And so we've got a lot of work already done on that. We want to complete that and get that actually out there and being used. And then really it's then shifting that to mainnet whilst in parallel start helping other people build their own use cases.
Absolutely. I couldn't be more impressed with what you guys have done to this point. Good luck trying to get that business over there in the UK, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thanks, Brandon.
I'm now posting these interviews of Hedera builders independently to my channel. The community, influencers, and media outlets are free to use this content to spread the word on what's being built on Hedera. Once they're all uploaded, you'll be able to go to my channel and search for whatever topic or team you're interested in to find more information. Or you'll be able to get the most recent Hedera news by watching the latest HBAR Weekly update. So check them out.